together with Earle Sports Bets. Yeah, the twins, they be checking in, stacking up. Green is the scene that you're stepping in. Winning is a trend, and we stay making dollars. Nerd talk with the sports bet scholars. Yeah. It's R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies. R.I.P. to the bookies.
We are live. Welcome back to another edition of the Earle Sports Bet Show. My name is Nicholas Earle. I'm joined by a very special guest here this morning. I'm joined here with Tim. And today we have playoff baseball continuing. We have the divisional series starting. We got those 4 games that we will go over. If you guys have any questions on any college games, of course, we will answer those questions as well. So should be good there. But before we get into today's games, before we get into today's slate, we'll take a look back at what happened yesterday. 1 went right, 1 went wrong in the world of sports betting. Sides to kick off college football this week have been really strong. Because on Wednesday, hit with Jacksonville State. On Thursday, we hit with Sam Houston in Western Kentucky. Last night, it was Cornhuskers plus 3.5 and plus 140. Bang, bang. They both come through. CFL went 4-2. I came 2 points short of going 5-1 yesterday, which would have been really nice. Elks team total over 19.5. One thing I noticed with the Elks yesterday, and I think this is probably the main reason why they didn't score the points that they have since Trey Ford's been the quarterback. The Argos shut down the run game. They were able to limit the Elks to less than 100 rushing yards, where with Trey Ford as quarterback, they've averaged over 200 a game. So they came in with the right game plan. I was lucky to get that first half over 24.5 in the Edmonton-Toronto game. A couple late scores in the first half, was able to cash that. The full game over came up short. Full sweep of the late game, and wow, that may have been the game of the year in the CFL last night between Winnipeg and BC. That was entertaining. It was it wasn't really back and forth. It was a late comeback for the Blue Bombers and overtime. Blue Bombers team total over 25.5 was a winner. First half over 24.5 was a winner. Full game over 51 was a winner. So it was a lot of fun to watch. Obviously, catching 3 bets in the game makes it even better to watch. And it was a really nice night there. 4-2 up 1.20 units in the CFL. I'm slowly working my way back to the black in the CFL. I think I'm only down like 1.5 units or 2 units this year. At one point, I was down almost 16. So definitely made a little bit of a comeback here in the CFL. It's been really strong lately. I do have a play in that game today between 2 plays in that Saskatchewan-Hamilton game. But yeah, overall, yesterday 6-2 up 2.18 units. Trying to work back from what has been a really poor start to the month, 24-31-1, down 6.84 units. But today's a big day. It is college football Saturday. So, yeah. But, Tim, welcome to the show. How did yesterday go?
On the site, we had one play. It was corn. Money line, plus 150. And that was it. So a nice little sweep of the board there. 2-0 to start the week for college football. So hopefully it can translate into a good Saturday where we have a lot of plays. I'm hoping for a really good day. Got some nice plus monies in there. So we'll see how that goes. And baseball playoffs. I'm excited for those to start up. 1 o'clock game with the Orioles should be fun to watch. So we'll see how that goes.
Yep. And we will go over that in just a second. We'll head over to the chat and then we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
Yeah. We in here. Yeah, what's good, Cameron? Yo from Joe Kryptonite. Because why? Get the Blue Bombers at plus 400 last night. Hell yeah, man. Hell of a cash. And I'm on Mizzou money line.
I'm on LSU.
I'm definitely not interested. Yeah. And in the side in that game, I'm definitely not interested with laying points on the road with LSU. The way that defense is played, I like the over in that game. morning, guys. Good morning. I also got that over at a 63, and I believe it's a 65.5 now. I beat some nice line movements, and I've been on some really bad against line movements. So it's one thing I did notice about this week. But we'll kick it on off with my least favorite matchup of the playoffs right now. Two teams that had under win totals on. I mean, for the American League, I like the other matchup because this one I had under win totals, futures on them, and things along those lines. The other two I had divisional win futures, and they both won their division. So that should show where I think the better series is. But it's still going to be a fun little series. Two teams that are rather inexperienced when it comes to postseason baseball as of late. The Baltimore Orioles finally make their first appearance since 2014. That was the year they went to the ALCS and lost to Kansas City, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a fun year. But yeah, we have the Orioles as $1.30 favorites with a total of 8 in this game. Let's get into it. I have made plays on the first 3 games. I did not get to this Dodger game. This Dodger game is kind of weirding me out starting to. But let's take a look here at the line history in this spot between Heaney and Bradish. And this line is continuing to drop, which is kind of concerning. Line opened up at a 140. It's down to a 129. So a move towards Texas and an 8 to a 7.5. Oh, boy, I don't like my bets at all in this game. But let's get into it here. Let's take a look at the cash flow in this spot. As we have 65% of the tickets and 98% of the cash is on the Orioles. The lines move towards the Rangers. I don't like my spot at all in this game. 62% of the tickets, 61% of the cash is on the over. I'm just going to hope the Orioles score 5 runs. I'm on the Orioles team total over. I got it at 4.5 plus 112, and I got the full game over at 8. I don't like that it's gone down to a 7.5. That is very concerning. But that's where I'm on at the moment. One thing when I was looking over this series here, I kind of see the opportunity for Baltimore to be able to take a little bit more of advantage over the bullpen of Texas than Tampa Bay was. But on the flip side, I think that Baltimore got the better matchup playing Texas instead of playing their divisional rival in Tampa Bay in the first round. So I'm on Baltimore team total over 4.5. I'm on the full game over 8. I do think we'll see some overs in this series. I like the bats on both sides, and I think the pitching is very inexperienced, especially with Baltimore, where I think the only Baltimore pitcher to have any playoff experience is Jack Flaherty, if I'm not mistaken. So very inexperienced.
Kyle Gibson.
Yeah, very inexperienced Baltimore team. I want to see how they do in the playoffs here. Texas, they have a little bit of experience. Marcus Semien and Corey Seager. Corey Seager's won a World Series and a World Series MVP. No, he was an NLCS MVP. One of those. So they do have experience, and of course they have Bruce Bochy, probably one of the most experienced managers postseason wise as well. But for me, I took the team total over 4.5, and I took the full game over at 8, which both lines have moved against me. So I'm nervous about that one.
I'm going to continue to ride out my future. I got the Orioles to win the World Series, so I'm going to start by backing them here. And you look at the difference in the stats. It's Bradish pitching today. You look at it, the difference in his stats from last year to this year. Last year, he had like a mid-4 ERA. He finished with a mid-2 ERA this year. He was phenomenal. I think we've really seen – because I know the one thing that kind of stopped the Orioles from making the playoffs last year was their pitching. Their pitching has been one of the big reasons why they're in the playoffs. And when your 1-2 punch to start the playoffs, your first 2 games at home are going to be by Kyle Bradish and Grayson Rodriguez. I think that's a really promising sign for this Orioles team. And I think they get off to an early 1-0, 2-0 start in this series. They may drop 1 in Texas. I think they take both games in Baltimore. I'm taking them run line plus 160 in this one. I think the Orioles take advantage. I think you see a big game out of Gunnar Henderson, a big game out of Rutschman. Keep in mind, this is a very young team. No one's told them that they're not supposed to be here. And I think they take full advantage of it. So I'm taking the Orioles. I'm going to continue to back them, and we're going to ride with it. Go O's. First home, I believe it's the first home game since 2014, which snaps the fifth longest streak of teams to host a playoff game. Now, only teams behind them are Detroit, or the teams that were behind them, or had the longest before that, it was Detroit, was Cincinnati, and Anaheim. So there you go. Go O's.
The only, I mean, talent-wise, this should be an interesting series. I think it goes 5.
No, 4.
I just don't know if my main worry for the Orioles is experience.
Well, this Texas team isn't super experienced either, so I wouldn't be.
Yeah. Back to the chat.
I'm going to try and hop on in-game unders if possible for MLB. No pre-game bets. Fair. Morning, Hannity. Orioles, yes, versus Braves in the World Series. No, I don't think the Braves make it out of the DS. No picking champions until division ends. What do you mean, no picking champions? No, I can pick champions. I have a ticket plus 600 for Baltimore to win the World Series. Have a fun weekend. Let's get it. Boobs. Comment of the day by Mr. Picks from Dave. Love to see it. We'll head to this game, which is probably out of the 4 series, this is the series that I care about the least.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a lot more excited about the Baltimore. Although I hate both Philly and Atlanta, I think that series is going to be better than this one. I think Arizona has a chance of beating the Dodgers. So,
yeah, I can understand. And now phrasing it a little differently for me. This could be the most least interesting series because I think the series is done in 3 games. I think this is the biggest mismatch on paper. But let's get into this game here. The Houston Astros and the Minnesota Twins. It's going to be Bailey Ober starting this game for the Twins against Justin Verlander. This line dropped a little bit since I bet it last night. It opened up at a 150. It got up to a 160 when I was typing this up this morning. And now it's down to a 144 all of a sudden. So a slight move towards the Twinnies here in this one. Line opened up at an 8. It went down to a 7.5, back up to an 8. Now it's sitting at an 8.5. So it's moved up. It's moved up since the opening line, and it's moved towards the Twinnies. We have 58% of the tickets and 84% of the cashes on the Twins. That makes sense why the line's moving towards them. 62% of the tickets, 63% of the cashes on the over. The line has moved towards the over in this spot here. And I mentioned this is the biggest mismatch, I think, on paper when it comes to the playoff or it comes to the DS series here. I think the Astros sweep. I think there's levels to this. And I know a lot of people like the Minnesota Twins after they finally got the monkey off their back, winning a playoff game and a playoff series, the Minnesota Twins. But they did it against the sad sack Blue Jays. Like this, the Blue Jays were the most frustrating team, and I can't believe I was holding futures tickets with them. I'm pissed that I held pennant and World Series futures with that poor excuse of a franchise. But they scored 1 run in 2 playoff games. They made mistake after mistake after mistake. They pulled Berrios after 3 innings of absolute dealing. The team deserved to lose. And I feel like that series was more the Blue Jays lost it rather than the Twins won it. And I think that this is a massive step up in competition for the Twins here in this matchup. And I think the Astros take care of business in this one. I took the first 5, laid a half a run at -105. I took the full game -1 with the Astros at -104. I think the Astros win this series. I think the Astros win the American League. I think they probably win the World Series as well. I think the bats are going to be too much for the Twins to handle here in this series. And I think the Astros cruise on this one in 3 games.
I do think that the Astros win this game, win the series. Now, obviously, I have a little bit different opinions on who's coming out of the American League, but I do think they win this series. I will be grabbing the Houston Astros today. Verlander versus Ober is a big pitching mismatch. I can get the run line at a nice price. I believe it's plus 145, 150 area. So you can get some really nice prices for the Astros today. Let's look. It's plus 140 on the run line. So I will be grabbing that. So Astros at home to start it off. Yes. I think this could be very similar to the Astros White Sox series a couple of years ago, where that one just was a flat out sweep, easy series.
Oh, I remember that one because I remember that was in the bubble playoffs, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think that year I had my biggest bet of the year on the Astros to win that series. And that was easy.
There you go. Back to the chat, and then we'll go over that. Yo, what's up, Markel? Welcome. Let's head over to the National League, Nick.
Yeah, this is a fun matchup here. And this is kind of one that's been written on the wall for months. Philadelphia Phillies and the Atlanta Braves. The Braves minus 200 favorites, total of 8.5 in this game. Let's get into the line history in this spot. We have Ranger Suarez and Spencer Strider. Line opened up at a 195. It's up to a 200. Line opened up an 8.5 at minus 115. It's an 8.5 at minus 119. So I'll move towards the over and I'll move towards the Braves. We have, 79% of the tickets and 93% of the cash is on the Phillies in this game. Yikes. 67% of the tickets, 51% of the cash is on the over. And this is the one game I think in this series that I'm concerned about the Phillies. I think there's a pitching mismatch here in this spot between Strider and Suarez. And it's mainly because the Phillies had to play in the wild card series, and they used up Wheeler and Nola in those two games and have to go with Suarez in game one against Strider. Now, that being said, Philly ain't scared of Strider. No. They lit him up last year in the playoffs. I think they can do it again in this one. I think they get at least 2 runs, maybe 3 runs against Strider, and then get one against the bullpen here. My main worry for the Phillies in this game is what is Ranger Suarez doing? I think those Atlanta bats can get to Suarez as well. I think if the Phillies win this series in 4, this is the game they lose. Because this is the game I'm the most worried about. And for Philly, my keys to them winning this series, they just have to win game 1 or game 2. Because I think they win both in Philly. Because Philly is that good at home in the playoffs. And if the Braves are going into Philadelphia tied 1-1, it's over. It's over. I'm on the Phillies team total over 3.5 at minus 105. And I'm on the full game over 8.5 at minus 110. I see this as another game similar to the Orioles series where I think we're going to see some overs. I think we're going to see exciting baseball. And I think at one point this can easily be 4-4. So I'm on the Phillies team total over 3.5. I'm on the full game over 8.5 as well.
I think the Phillies are a playoff wagon right now. If you bet them every single game in this playoffs, I think you're going to make money, kind of deal. And that's exactly where I'm going to go. I'm just going to go right back to them. Nothing really to change. I'm grabbing some big plus money with the Phillies, and I'm just going to roll with them. Spencer Strider, you know what you're going to get out of him. You're going to get 4 innings. You're going to get 10 strikeouts, and he's going to let up 3 to 4 earned runs. So when it comes to this one, I think it's a pretty straightforward spot for me. I'm going to be grabbing Philly every single game of this playoffs, and or at least of this series, and then we'll go from there. So I'll start off with a little bit of Red October plus 182 in this one.
Yeah, and I was really close the other night to betting the Phillies to win the World Series, and win the National League, because I think there's, and here's the thing, is I kind of think I think the winner of this series makes the World Series. You can get the Phillies at 350 to win the National League. You can get the Phillies at still plus 750 to win the World Series. I think that's worth a shot. Am I going to bet it now? No, you could have gotten a much better number before the playoffs started. But I mean, I think the Phillies are the toughest remaining matchup for the Braves.
In the National League, yes.
Overall.
In the National League, yes. Not overall. Yeah. So Phillies in this one, 100%. Now back to the chat.
Oh, yep. I like North Carolina first half minus 6.5. What do you think? I played Syracuse plus the points in the money line. We will be there today. We will be at that game. So
yep.
I like Syracuse a little bit there. I'm leaning Phillies first 5 and money line. Yes, Yep, Phillies. Little PD Pablo to start the afternoon. What?
A little what?
I don't know. Little PD Pablo to start the afternoon. I don't know who that is. Suarez ain't no Ranger. Yeah. Damn, Joe, you on Missouri makes me nervous about my LSU bets. I just have the over. The Orioles need this World Series, but I bet the Braves. Same game parlay. Phillies to lead through 7, 5th, 7th, and money line plus 350. Hell yeah, I like that. PD Pablo rapper. That's okay. Okay. We'll move on to the final game here. I personally have not bet this game yet. This one makes me a little bit nervous, but I do have a lean in this game. We'll get into it here. Whether or not I bet it, we'll figure that out. Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. This line opened up at a 195. It's down to a 186. It did get down to a 182, but it's a little bit of buyback here on the Dodgers. Line opened up at an 8 at plus money. It's now it's 8.5. So move towards the over and a move towards the Diamondbacks so far. 70% of the tickets, 75% of the cash is on the Dodgers. The lines move towards the Diamondbacks. 49% of the tickets, 97% of the cash is on the over. The lines move towards said over here in this spot. And this one, for me, is pretty plain and simple. If I'm making a move on this game, it's Dodgers or nothing. I'm leaning towards the Dodger run line in this game. They just beat up on Merrill Kelly. And I think this game is kind of like no different, especially because this is Merrill Kelly's first playoff game as well. So I think like that could be one of those spots where the jitters can get to you and all that fun jazz. But with the track history that Merrill Kelly has against this Dodgers team, it's Dodgers or nothing for me in game one, especially with Kershaw on the mound. And I kind of see Arizona giving the Dodgers a nice little run for their money. When I put my pick out on Twitter, I said that the Dodgers win this series, but it's in 5 games instead of like 3 or 4, like some people think. I think Arizona makes it competitive, but having Merrill Kelly game 1 and game 5, I think is going to be the ultimate downfall here for the Diamondbacks. But I'm most likely going to be on the Dodger run line. I haven't bet it yet, but I'm most likely going to make that move.
I'm going to be on the opposite side. I know Merrill Kelly has had some bad splits against the Dodgers, but I think the Diamondbacks have a legit shot to win this series outright. And I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but I truly believe that they do. And when it comes to it, I think they have to win one of these first 2 games. And Clayton Kershaw has not had good success in the postseason since like 2017. You could say, oh, he had a good playoff run in 2020. It was no crowd. I don't count it. I just want him to prove it. And hey, if you're against an Arizona Diamondbacks team, you should be able to prove that you could be postseason. But I'm taking the Diamondbacks. Another big plus money play today. All my plays, big plus money. Hoping to go at least 2, at worst 2-2, and come out with some money. So Diamondbacks for me. I think I'll take Diamondbacks to win the series.
Bold. So you like the doggies in the National League and the favorites in the American League.
Yeah, but I do think that Astros series can go either way. I will say that. But I do like the Orioles. Yeah. Back to the chat, Nick.
Yeah. Got that feeling. God damn it. Not to be ignored. D-backs struggled versus lefties, right? I believe so. Yeah, they weren't really hitting much in the second half of the season there in general. But that is the full slate for today's games. Anything else you want to touch on before we do housekeeping and recaps and all that?
That should be it. Just a bunch of postseason today.
Yep. All right, which means it is time for some
housekeeping.
New to the channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, do all the good stuff. We appreciate all the support. Check out all the links in the description below. The big 4 are above Nick's head: YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. All of those, we're trying to grow all those platforms. If you guys are interested in becoming a member of the channel, We still need to post the NFL for this weekend, but that'll be up today. But college football card is up on there already. We'll have cards for college basketball, NHL, and NBA up there for member-only stuff as well. So if you guys are interested, $4.99 a month, you can jump on that. Recap for today: Orioles, Astros, Phillies, Diamondbacks. However, you can get them at plus money. So the first 2 games, run line. Second 2 games, money line. I like some plus money today. Orioles, Astros, Phillies, D-backs. Nick?
Yeah, Orioles team total over 4.5, full game over 8. Astros first 5 -0.5, full game -1. Phillies team total over 3.5, full game over 8.5. And I'll probably move on the Dodger run line later in the day. I haven't officially done that yet, but I probably will.
And I will say I put together a little bit of a degen parlay. It's a I put all of $8 on it. It's a 5-legger. It's got Texas money line, LSU money line, Baltimore money line, G2, which they're against Cloud9 right now. I had to throw a little bit of Counter-Strike in there at -115 live bet. And then Syracuse, I did an alternative spread of plus 11.5 for the game later. $8 to win 91. So a little bit of a degen parlay. So hopefully we can cash that as well.
You are a freaking gen there.
Which G2 is 1 round away from taking map 2. They need to win map 2 and map 3. But anyways, that's going to do it for this edition of the Earle Sports Bet Show. We'll be back tomorrow with some football, Nick. NFL football.
Oh, yeah.
Got to find the outro. Here it is. We'll see you guys tomorrow.